Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do the last one for the year. Can you believe that? Anyways, I'm still doing the this or that's. Tour Leaf is one of the thises, but I've already done this one. So here's my video on Tour Leaf. Although I can tell from just the thumbnail and everything, this is one of my older videos. I've gotten better since then, but there's that one. So I decided to do this Yin4, and to be completely transparent with you guys, I already did it once. It looks like this. This is what I came up with, and guess what? I really love this, but I went to upload my video and it had no sound. Apparently the microphone I'm using didn't function or lost its sound or something. It had sound like at the beginning, but by the end it had no sound. So I'm drawing it again, so you guys get to see how I did that. And I'm going to do it completely differently, I think, kind of. There are some parts I really like, so I'm going to do them the same. Some parts not so much. I might do it different. Yin4 is a base pattern. If you guys don't know what a base pattern is, when you're at pattern dash collections, now remember, you need to have this dash in there. It's pattern dash collections, and I know it's kind of hard to see on there, but it's very important. See where my URL is, pattern dash collections. If you just go to pattern collections, you end up at I believe it's a quilting site, not a tangling site. Just FYI. But this is a base pattern, which means that once you've gotten the pattern down, you can use it for a variety of CPT techniques. So the first thing you do is draw a circle, and then you divide that circle in half, divide it in half the other way, and then divide each of those pie pieces in half again, and you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An 8 division pie shaped thing. And that's it. That's the base pattern. And then what you can do is create variations using that as your base. These three were done with the base pattern exactly as it's shown, with straight lines. This one is done with the center point offset and with curved lines. So it makes it look more like a ball. This one here was done with just some curves. Let me point with my pointy thing. With some curves, and then colored in with striping to make it look kind of spiderwebby. This one was done with putting a circle kind of here and then doing 3 lines coming out from that circle into each of the points. This one was done by putting a muka inside each of those sections, which I think is really kind of cool. And then this one was done using more of this style, and then dividing it. It looks like they divided it again. Let's see, because they have more than 8 pieces here. They divided it again, and then put a division like this, and then divided that. So it looks more like Enzeppel, which is really cool. And the ones that I did on the previous video, when I did them last week, that now I did something similar to that second one here. I did put a circle, but down further. I really like this one. I think I'm going to do this one again on here. This one I did with it in the middle, but with an arching things. I like that one too. Actually, I like this whole thing. And then this one I sort of did ensemble-like with it offset, but not as many pieces as they did on the sample. I like all of those, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do here because, you know, inspiration will come to me. So I've changed my paper size to a square instead of a rectangle. See, the last one was a rectangle. And we'll see what I do. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole piece of paper. Focus. There we go. I can either use my Helix circle maker and just put circles, or I can use a compass. I bought myself a compass, so I'm going to use it. What size circle do I want? Bigger, I think. A little bit bigger. I'm going to put one here that's kind of the biggest one. Maybe there. That's a good size. Over a little bit. Just make a nice soft circle. And then I'm going to make it smaller and do one maybe here. I don't know if I want to make it, yeah, let's make it a little bit smaller. Like that. And about that same size. I was going to make it even smaller, but I think I want it about the same size here. But I think I want it out further. Like that. And that one's going to go behind for sure. To decide, I think I want this one on top. So I'm going to erase this. Like that. So I've got 3 circles again, like I had before. And then I'm going to make my divisions. On this one, I'm going to do like I did the last one because I really like that one. So I'm going to divide in half and then in half again. Like so. That is the base pattern, just right there. And I want to be a little more accurate with my inner bit. So just this. Back in the center. I need to adjust my pencil. There we go. Have it touching the paper and like that. Close enough. So I'm going to put a circle in here like so. Just giving myself a little guide as to what I want to do. Now for my pen, I want this one. I'm going to go ahead and draw my outside circle. That. Wrong direction. Zoom you guys in so you can see a little better. like so. I don't know why that arm got a little something, I don't know. Like circles. Like that. And then, what did I do? I'm trying to remember what I did. And then I went from here to here. Like this. And then I went along here. Like this. Like that. And then I followed this angle to draw stripes in here. I wonder if I'm running out of ink on this one already. I shouldn't be, but I could be because this is my favorite size in these Copic multiliners. I may have to get myself a refill. Just so that I have one on hand in case I am actually running out of ink. Don't know if I'm running out of ink or if that nib just was having a little blockage for a second, which is also possible. It's weird, I don't usually recreate a pattern, so it feels kind of strange that I'm doing the same pattern again. But it's still already slightly different because of where I put my circle. It's not in the same spot as I did before. And where I did this line is not in the same spot, so it's slightly different. If you looked at them closely, you'd see that they're not the same. Okay. And then I did like having a bolder bit here coming it was here coming down here and over here. like that. This and like that. That helps make a nice big bold thing. Really like having a nice big contrast. Sometimes I like them just very filigree thin lines, but sometimes I like a nice big bold contrast. Okay, I think that's all I did, right? Yep, that looks like what I did before. I like that a lot. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and do what I did last time, which was, here's the middle. I'm going to go ahead and divide that. Half. No, that's not half. That's straight there. Guess that's not quite the middle either, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and make curvy lines like I did before. I'm going to do something, maybe something different with what I do with it. Something like that. Whew. Turn off my heater. I had my heater on. It was a bit nippy when I came out here, but now it's warmed up, so I don't need it anymore. Let's draw with a little bit fatter of a pen. I'm going to get an 05 instead of an 02. Excuse me. Normally I would have done this one first, but I don't know why I did this one first. I usually draw the top one before I draw the behind one. I'll go ahead and do this little piece of this. Okay, and then let's do this. Like so. Something like that. I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to do this one next. Let's do the end of that one way up here. Let's do it like that. And like that. And like this. And this way, I think. Like that. Okay, kind of like a beach ball. And what size do I want to draw with? Let's draw with the 01. See what the 01 does. Oh, I need to do the outside with the 05 though, because I did that line. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this one first and then this one. But that's okay. Not a problem. I'm not too sure why I'm drawing this direction, because once I come around here, then I can't see behind my hand. I usually come from where I can't see to where I can see, but that's okay. It is what it is. Alright, so now let's do these. Like that. And then in here, I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to go this way and this way. I think this is what they did on the sample, maybe, or something similar. Yeah, I think that's just kind of what they did on the sample. Ooh, what's going on with my pen? I don't know. Something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. Loving that. Do you like that? I like that. And then I think I'm going to do the Enzeppel thing, but yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Just round those corners. Like so. Yeah, I think I've damaged this nib. It's very easy to do. I like the size of the line of an 01 line, but the nibs are so fragile. don't know if you can see, but I think I've damaged that nib. Can you see where it's a little bit bent? Or will it? Can you see that? It's just the slightest bit bent. I can almost not see that, but I think I've damaged the nib. It's still writing, but I can feel that it's not quite right. I'm assuming that there's a reason why I had to draw this again. This is the first time that I've ever had where I don't have sound. And I actually had recorded 2 that turned out to not have sound. This one had sound up until almost the end. But then the next one that I recorded didn't have any sound at all. And I'm going to assume that there was something I said in there when I was doing my chit-chatting that God did not want out there on the internet, which is fine. I may have said something that will either be something that I would have made somebody angry, or that just wasn't, or I would have started a conversation that maybe I didn't want to have, or maybe I said something that was going to be triggering to somebody without even knowing it, and it's something that God said, no, 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 no. So-and-so's going to watch that video and that's going to harm them, and so I don't want that out there. I don't know. All I know is that rather than getting upset about it, my initial reaction was, oh well, I guess I just have to do it again. Which I think is good, that I didn't get upset. I like that. I like that a lot. Now what do I want to do in here? I think I want to do something more organic, even though what I did before was organic. I don't know, do I want to do... I think I want to bring something this direction. Extend it outside the circle, since none of the others extend outside the circle. Like that. Maybe follow that line, that curve up and around like this. Like that. Now what do I want to do? Apparently, this one is calling for spirals. Something like that. very thin and delicate. It needs another spiral. What do you guys think? Very, very thin. Feel like I want one more like this. Just to anchor that just a little bit. Like that. What do we think? Like it. Okay, that's good. We're going to erase all my little guidelines. Don't need much erasing because you can barely see my guidelines, but they're there, so I'm going to erase them. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the whole thing. Decide how it's going to live. It's going to live that way. And it's called Yin4. Why it's called that, I don't rightly know, but it is. Let's do a little shading. Start. This is getting some here because that feels like where it should be. Nice and big. That. And then of course this one's on top of this one, so it needs to have shading all around to make that one sit on top of that one. Just like so. And this on top of that one, like so. We'll start with that. But see how you can take the base pattern and just make them all your own, however you want, whatever you feel like doing. That's the whole dynamic of CPT, creative pattern tangling, if you don't know what CPT means. And starting in January, which is like 2 days, right? Oh, by the way, Happy New Year's or New Year's Eve or close to New Year's. I'll be back on January 1st with lesson number 1 of Back to Basic Lessons. And we're going to delve into the world of CPT rather than just doing patterns. We're going to do some patterns too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to veer away from patterns because, I mean, that's totally what my channel is, right? But I want to delve into more of the creative pattern tangling portion rather than the just following a pattern. The pattern is just a base, a jumping off spot, if you will, for your creativity and for getting into the flow of what your brain needs to offset the fact that you're in the other half. You know, you have two halves of your brain, your right and your left hemisphere. One side, now I can't remember at the moment, and I will definitely look it up, but one side is your analytical side and one side is your creative side. And we use our analytical side a lot. And we don't use our creative side near enough. And when you're just following a pattern, you're still just using your analytical side. But when you take your pattern and you make it your own, you end up on your creative side. And that's really important. It's important to be balanced in your mind. And so we're going to explore that a little bit more than I have previously on my channel. So if you're interested in that, stick around. If you are not interested in beginner or basic lessons or back to basics, it's not really beginner necessarily, although it is beginner, very beginner friendly. But it's more of like going back to the basics. If you're not interested in that, I'm going to be doing, at least my plan is at the moment, is I'm going to do a beginning lesson or a basics lesson, and then a regular pattern, and then a basics lesson, and then a regular pattern every other one, so that if the basics lessons are not things that you're interested in, you can just, kind of skip on by. But I want to kind of have a little bit of everything for 2021, because I have this horrible feeling that we're all going to be stuck at home again for a very long time. Of course, not me. Even if they completely lock down the country again. I'm considered an essential worker. I have not stayed home once from work, other than, scheduled time off, but I've not stayed home due to lockdown at all, because I'm considered an essential worker. So there's that. Deciding how I want to shade that. Do I just want to go here? Just lightly? I think I might go like that. What does that look like? Yeah, if I don't go right next to the line, if I kind of go over here, it gives it the idea that this is filigree is kind of sticking up off the page. I'm going really light with it too. That one was a little too much, actually. I'm going to take some of that off. I like the kneaded eraser. You can just dab and it'll take up just a little bit of your graphite, not everything, and so just lightens it, but it keeps it there. So you're still have it, you just don't have it really strong. Like that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, and then maybe just a little like this. What do you think? I think that's good. I want to go here. But I'm not even going to add more graphite. I'm just going to use whatever's left on my stump to kind of give those a little more dimension. Like that. Good. That's good. And now, my favorite part, a bit of highlights. I don't remember what I did on the last one. I used my pen. Yeah, okay. Let's use my Uniball Signo, this one, white pen. Give some highlights. I keep thinking to myself, I should do a question out of the book, but maybe I need to evaluate what the questions are in the book, because maybe that's what I wasn't supposed to talk about. So I'm going to just wait, I think. Remember, don't stick your hand in there, Dawn. That's the problem with the jelly pens, is that they don't dry really fast and you can end up smudging. Do I want a little highlights in here? How do I do that? Let's do this. And then let's do that, I think. Just a little bit inside the curl. Like that. How's that look? I think that looks good. Okay, so that's the one I did today. Hopefully you guys can hear everything I said. This is the one I did before. You can see it. That one's very similar. But look how different it looks between this color paper and this color paper. Color paper makes a big difference on how it looks. Now this I did completely differently. This one I did more like the sample, I think. Not exactly, but more like the sample. I like this sort of flowery shape that ends up. This one's good too. I really like that, but it came out completely different. And then this one, I used that same curvy base pattern, but I just completely did something different. So there you are. I will see you guys on the next video. You guys do something nice for someone today. Make the last day of the year something you can be proud of because you've done something good for someone else. Doesn't matter what it is. Simple. It doesn't have to be expensive. As a matter of fact, it's probably better if it doesn't cost you anything. Just, hold the door open for somebody. Help somebody in and out of their vehicle. If somebody's dropped something, pick it up for them. If somebody needs a meal, bring them a meal. Call your mom and tell her how much you love her. I mean, just simple things. Really super simple things that mean a lot to the person that you've done it for. And when you do little things like that throughout the day, throughout your life, every time you do something nice for someone, it does make the world a better place. And let's work on that for 2021, okay? Because 2020, I'm glad it's over, to be honest with you. All right. I'll see you on the next one, which is going to be lesson number 1 for Back to Basics. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.